Good morning, my brothers and sisters and all my friends. This morning we are going to talk about the second part of Gupt Vidya, the secret wisdom. And this secret wisdom promises us that it will transform every human being into a greater being. As we have worked out with Brahma Vidya, the self-realization of the divine within, to know thyself. The second stage was that we wanted to perform the divination of the humanity, of the whole village. And through the universal cooperation and universal collaboration, we created the tools of Madhu Vidya, the tools of protection, of productivity, the infrastructure for the prosperity. So as we see that there are three stages to establish peace, that's Brahma Vidya. To establish the infrastructure of progress, that's Madhu Vidya. And to establish the infrastructure of prosperity for everybody is the Gupta Vidya, the secret wisdom. With the first Brahma Vidya, we recognized the God within. So if there is God within me, then there is God within you also. When I recognize your God, when I recognize only my God within, that's not enough. I have to go out of my own local consciousness, my own box. I have to go out and recognize the God within you. What does it mean? I have to recognize this truth, universal truth, that everybody has the God. When everybody has the God within, then why only human beings? Why not the sentient beings? Because they also have life. So when we recognize the God within, even in the sentient beings, what is this process? This process is the process of universal empathy. To cultivate Karuna, to cultivate Vishwa Karuna, universal empathy, and increase the circle of compassion. When we increase the circle of compassion, which will bring in not only the family, not only the village, not only the town, and not only the city, and not only the nation, but whole humanity. We are increasing our circle of compassion. And we are also at the same time increasing our circle of justice. The realization that there is God within us, so there is God within everybody else. And when it goes on further, increasing the circle of compassion, Karuna, the engaged compassion, unconditional and all-inclusive. When this circle of compassion becomes all-inclusive and unconditional, then everybody comes in. And everybody becomes the image of God. And that's why the great wisdom tradition of India had a proclamation, a beautiful proclamation, which said, Atithi Devo Bhava. The guest is God. So that everybody could come in this great circle of compassion. And through this process of recognizing God in everybody else, all the sentient beings and all the active agents, all the hands of God, existing not only the animals which move, but even the plants which stand in one place. So we extended our circle of compassion to plants, to green world, to the hands of God. And then we have a choice to go over to the elementary consciousness and say, Kan Kan Me Bhagwan. God is everywhere in every particle of this universe. Then we become universal being, all inclusive of even the elementary consciousness. And then when you reach to this height, whether you are a rishi or a scientist or Maharshi Charak, then this whole world starts talking with you. You can establish a dialogue with this whole universe. And that's how, and this is exactly what the Nobel Prize winner who discovered DNA, when somebody asked, how did you discover DNA? And he said, I talked to DNA. This is the process. To establish this dialogue, universal dialogue, with the whole universe, by increasing the circle of compassion through expansion of the universe. So the universe will go on expanding. So we will go on expanding our consciousness and be truly existing here on the planet and later on in the whole solar system and all over the universe as universal beings. So we establish the greater circle of peace. We establish the universal peace by recognizing the God not only in me, but God in you and God in everybody. So the wisdom tradition of India, when we salute each other, because we belong to this first state of universal empathy, because the whole of the civilization of the Indian wisdom tradition and the Indian civilization is based on universal empathy. So when we greet each other, what we say? Ram Ram. I recognize your Ram. And you say back that I recognize your Ram. We are recognizing, we are saluting the God within of each other. It's beyond namaste. This is Ram Ram. So we establish the peace, the infrastructure of peace, and that's Brahma Vidya. Then second, we establish the infrastructure of progress. And how we do that? Through creating the infrastructure of perpetual returns. What are those perpetual returns? Where do we get it? The water is the greatest source of perpetual returns. So the farmer could grow not only one crop. If he is dependent on the rainy season, he could grow only one crop. But if he has the perpetual water source, he could grow 4 crops. So he has increased the circle of progress. He has increased the circle of his ambition, his evolutionary urge. So through the universal cooperation and Madhu Vidya, we are increasing the circle of evolutionary urge, the lotus urge of the whole village. And when all village, all the men and women join their hands and hearts and minds together in this one evolutionary urge, this ambition, then they establish the infrastructure of progress, the infrastructure of those raw materials which are needed all the time, the perpetual supply of water. We have the land. Then if we could have perpetual supply of water, the prosperity is within our reach. So through the contribution of everybody through the universal cooperation. This is how a single entity which started a small little cell, which we could say one cell organisms, the life started like one cell organisms. But later on, it joined all others. It multiplied and became the multicellular organism. This is to establish the infrastructure of progress and evolution, the evolutionary urge. So we increase the circle of our evolutionary urge. So not only that we create the permanent infrastructure of water supply, but we also increase the circle of evolutionary urge to walk on the water, to sail on the water, to fly in the air. Those are our tools of Madhu Vidya, born out of the universal compassion. So we increase the circle of our evolutionary urge, and that is what the growth is, and that is what the prosperity is. The progress is. So we increase the circle of our evolutionary urge, establishing the infrastructure for the progress. So we have already done with the peace, recognizing the God within everybody, not only me, but everybody, you and everyone. So we establish the infrastructure of the peace. And the peace leads to progress. So we establish the infrastructure of peace and then progress, the evolutionary progress, the growth through Madhu Vidya, through universal cooperation, through universal unity, through joining our hands and hearts and minds together. That's Madhu Vidya. And the third, the Gupt Vidya, the secret wisdom. And this secret wisdom will give us the infrastructure of prosperity. And in other words, we are moving from state to state. First is the circle of compassion. The second, we are increasing the circle of satisfaction, the progress, the growth, that everybody has a stake in this common resource, perpetual resource. So everybody could use this infrastructure of progress. And that is what the Madhu Vidya is, the universal cooperation. So we increase the circle of universal cooperation and the circle of progress and growth and of the universal progress. Third, we increase the circle of security, the circle of satisfaction, the circle of fearlessness. And how could we have that? Increasing circle of fearlessness, increasing circle of freedom through prosperity. As we have seen that in Madhu Vidya, in Brahma Vidya, we were single, all alone, as God. But this was not enough. So we joined our hands together, we joined with other gods. And we became multi-God. We became a greater God through Madhu Vidya. And after that, everyone went away after this project is completed of Madhu Vidya. After they have created and dug a well, and after they have created a lake for the water, perpetual water supply, everyone went home. So this link was broken. The link which we established with every heart and mind through Madhu Vidya, through the universal unity, was broken. after the project was completed. Because everybody went home and became very anxious about their own personal security and their personal satisfactions. So, everyone needs this permanent collection, this permanent link of interdependence and interconnectedness, because we have realized that through this link we create greater things. Through this unity, universal unity, we are empowered and we could create the greatest infrastructure of progress. As we have created not only the wall of China through Vidya, through the universal cooperation, we have also created, the humanity has created pyramids. And we have created all the greatest modern world's infrastructure of progress. So it must lead to the infrastructure of prosperity. That's the secret wisdom. It must lead to ever-increasing circle of freedom. It must lead to ever-increasing circle of prosperity. It must lead to ever-increasing circle of security. And that comes from prosperity. This sense of security comes from prosperity. So when a yogi feels the God within, he starts, as not the wise yogis, but some of them, they want to experiment and they are empowered. So they try to demonstrate their powers, mystic powers of flying in the air, walking on the water. What he is trying to demonstrate to us, he is trying to demonstrate that I have that power to walk on the water. I have the power to fly in the air. But my dear brothers and sisters, that is like belittling this great God within. So the greatest yogis, they never go around, they never do these things, this black magic or whatever the magic path is, the occult path is not important for them, because they know that there is God everywhere and they have to do their best to establish the infrastructure of peace and love and compassion through increasing circle of compassion. In the same way, in the circle of prosperity, when the third part, peace, progress and prosperity, when we come to prosperity, we are also empowered. Everyone is empowered to sail on the water, fly in the air. The greatest circle of security has been established, and everyone, every human being is empowered to talk to intercontinental telephone talks through the satellites, to look in the photographs taken by NASA or taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. We all can share. We all are empowered. Everyone is empowered through this prosperity. The circle of security, the circle of freedom. So ever-increasing circle of freedom, the fearlessness. And when our mind is fearless, this is the point. This is the very mystic part. That when our mind is fearless, it works 100% potential. Its efficiency increases exponentially. And that is the ambition of every yogi, of every aspirant of Vidya, to become fearless and of the prosperity. So it's the whole exercise of mental security. So the connection which was broken in Madhu Vidya, when we did the projects, establishing the infrastructure of progress. But when the project was completed, everybody went home. What we are trying to do now, we are going to establish a link forever, perpetual link of interconnectedness and interdependence. And let me give you the secret. That was the invention of money. That is the Gupt Vidya. And that is the secret wisdom. And through this third river, the secret river of Saraswati, we are going to investigate this secret wisdom. We are going to perform the divination of money. And this is the wisdom of Mahalakshmi, the great goddess of wealth, Mahalakshmi. And great goddess of wealth, Mahalakshmi, is born out of earth. This great Mahalakshmi didn't descend from the heaven, but this great Mahalakshmi is born out of the churning of the ocean. Means reflective wisdom. Means the wisdom of self-realization. Means the secondary wisdom. The primary wisdom we have is to recognize, know thyself. And this is the secondary part, second part, reflective wisdom. So Mahalakshmi is born of this world, of our interconnection, of the humanity's interconnectedness, and the humanity is interdependence. So we all have demands, and we need to satisfy our demands. And when we have demands, we become insecure. And it is exactly the same. We are the model of elementary consciousness. When the sodium chloride is dissolved in water, it is ionized. In the same manner, when the great soul visits earth, the world of water, it is ionized in two genders, male and female. And this male and female become unsatisfied, like the ions of sodium and chloride. So they strive, they work very hard to become satisfied. So what they do? They marry each other. They establish a bond, chemical bond. Chemical bond means the bond of interaction with each other. The bond of mutual cooperation. And they share an electron. So they become satisfied. So this is the urge, which is very elementary urge, that everyone has to satisfy the demands. But here is the wisdom that you have to have engaged demands. You have to have wisdom to analyze your demands. You have to see that your demands don't disturb anybody, are not violent, are not detrimental to any other god other than you and the other person who is also the god. So you don't disturb the peace. So this is the first condition. So everyone must satisfy the demands, because demands create insecurity, and we have to create an infrastructure, global infrastructure of security, of empowerment, that everybody could fly in the air, everybody could look into the space, and everybody could have a intercontinental dialogue through the telephone. We are empowering everybody, and we are generating the sense of security, and we are generating the cycle of freedom for everybody. And we are establishing the link, the permanent link of Madhu Vidya, of universal unity and universal togetherness through money. So the money empowers us to fly in the air. So the money empowers us to walk on the water. Money empowers us to look in the space, deep space, listen to the deep space. So the money empowers us. So that's the link. And through money, the humanity has established a permanent link with each other. So we have become truly a dynamic, multi-humanity organism. We have become one organism which has established through the nervous system a permanent communication channel through the nervous system of money, the money infrastructure, through Mahalakshmi, the goddess of wealth. And this goddess of wealth is the greatest help for Lord Vishnu to sustain the universe. And his Sudarshan Chakra, his great chakra of universal cycle of peace, progress and prosperity is kept in movement through Goddess Lakshmi, through the gift of this money. If there is no Mahalakshmi, this link, the goddess of wealth, Vishnu's great Sudarshan Chakra, which maintains the peace, progress and prosperity, universal cycle of sustenance, will stop. So that is the power of Mahalakshmi. That is the power of this greatest link, the money. So my dear brothers and sisters, from today onwards, we are starting this our pilgrimage of this secret wisdom. Thank you very much and have a very, very beautiful day.